Coming off their best result of the season, last week's 4-0 win over Harrisburg, the Rochester Rhinos look to continue their winning ways as they play host to St. Louis FC. USL Soccer is coming up next on the Rhinos Broadcast Network. Afternoon soccer at Salem Stadium in downtown Rochester. The Rhinos hosting St. Louis FC. Good afternoon, soccer fans. I'm Joe Giuliano along with soccer player / model Christian Silva. Looking good, my man.
Appreciate you.
Welcome back to another game.
Thank you. It's a brilliant afternoon for us, so I can't wait to see some good playing.
It's the second meeting of the season between Rochester and St. Louis. For the Rochester Rhinos, they have already punched their place into the playoffs, while St. Louis FC needs either a win or a tie to keep their playoff hopes alive. And in preparation for today's game, looking at St. Louis's roster, they are decimated. Some key injuries to the St. Louis side. So you're going to have to look for some firepower, some spark from somewhere. Where does it come from?
Absolutely. It's looked like they've got Brian Gall tucked in a little further back now. It's a player with great experience. Has played in MLS for a few years with Galaxy. He's versatile. He's played left back. He's played up top for them, and I think you'll see him more in a central role today.
Number 8, Brian Gall for St. Louis FC. For the Rochester Rhinos, 4 goals last week against Harrisburg, an offensive explosion. But Dos Santos got 2 of those 4 goals. He's not in the lineup today. Who steps up?
And that'll be Colin Rolfe today. He had a brilliant assist last game against Harrisburg. Stepping in today, he's going to definitely put in a shift. He'll be a nightmare for that St. Louis back line. He's a player who just really hassles defenders and doesn't stop working until the ball's in the net.
Incredible work rate for number 9, Colin Rolfe. He gets the start today against St. Louis FC. Stick around. Kickoff is coming up next. We'll have the game for you right here on the Rhinos Broadcast Network.
Great Taste has landed. Salem's great tasting hot dogs and deli meats now available across New York State.
When you build a new house with Faber Homes, you won't have to deal with the to-do list that comes with buying a used home.
They made it really easy. I mean, the whole process was so simple, and we were new to the process. It was our first time owning a home, definitely first time building a home, so they made it really easy, step-by-step process. So it's great.
Learn more about the benefits of building a new home at FaberHomes.com and visit our models in Henrietta at Berkshire Park or at Regency Park in Greece. Faber Homes. Great homes, great price.
Come on, join the rest of the kids at Unity Health System's Total Sports Experience. Instructional program starting at age 2. Year-round fun. Join anytime. Call 458-4263 or check us out at totalsports-experience.com.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Salem Stadium for the Rochester Rhinos and St. Louis FC. Joe Giuliano along with Christian Silva on the call today for the 14-1-8 Rhinos and the 6-10-8 St. Louis FC. Starting lineups. First for the visitors from St. Louis in goal, Alec Can. The back will be Musa, Fink, Duty, and Vandegrift. The midfielders are Takata, Gall, Marr, and Bryce. Up top, Hardware and Roberts for Dale Shilley. For the Rhinos, it's Miller in goal, Apostolopoulos, Obasi, McMahon, Ringoff in the back, Tosh, Mendoza, Forbes, and Walls in the midfield, Dixon and Rolfe up top. For Bob Lilly's Rochester Rhinos, referee is Jaime Herrera, assisted by Greg Irwin, Steve Montanino, and the fourth is Bill Engel. Christian, good afternoon and welcome.
Excited to be here. It's a brilliant afternoon, like I mentioned earlier, and hoping to see some good football. St. Louis has struggled a bit, be it that they're a new club or with injuries, but they're missing some key players. One of those players being Richard Dixon on the right backside. He dynamic player, technical dynamic player, Jamaican international, and it's a shame he's not here today, but that's just one of the many injuries that St. Louis has had.
And he's the guy you're familiar with from the VSI Tampa days?
Very familiar with him. Brilliant player as well. Hoping to see him back soon.
This one out of play on the far side. Actually a foul called on Mendoza, who gets the motor started early. First minute of action. It'll be Can over to take it, the 25-year-old making his 17th appearance of the season for St. Louis FC.
And a big game for both teams for obviously opposing reasons. The Rhinos are looking to secure that first place spot for the playoffs, and St. Louis is looking to make a late run and try and sneak in the playoffs. So there's definitely a lot to play for.
Absolutely, a lot on the table here. St. Louis needs a win or a tie to keep their playoff hopes alive. We'll tell you the Rhinos scenario in a moment. They're behind Dixon. Gets it to Tosh. Into the box for Forbes. And that's going to run out of space for the Rhinos. 1 point out of today's game will get them a bye into the playoffs. With 3 points, that will just leave them with 4 points left to clinch the USL regular season championship. So 7 points, the magic number there for Rochester. Got some help last night as Louisville fell to Pittsburgh. Rob Vincent's PK. The decider. Here's Rolfe into the box. Swerved across and knocked out of play by Fink. And it'll be a corner kick for the Rhinos.
And you mentioned in there the Louisville score. I think I said last week, Coach Lilly said, don't blink. And from what we're seeing, the Rhinos have duct taped them eyelids open, and they're ready to go.
Exploding last week on 4-0 against Harrisburg. Walls, Samuels, Dos Santos with 2 goals. We'll see if they can continue that offensive output. There's Mendoza's driven ball. Picked up there by Hardware. Now Takata. Fink will knock it forward. Picked up by the Rhinos, who are 9-0-2 on home turf this season. Rhinos and OKC Energy. 2 teams who have got the little marks next to their names for securing a playoff spot in the USL. Oklahoma City in the Western Conference. There's Obasi. Rolfe checking back, receives it. Picked up by Takata. Good step there, McMahon. Top of the 18, Rolfe takes a touch, a shot, and a goal! The giveaway, and the Rhinos make them pay in the 4th minute. Rolfe, his 3rd of the year.
Picking up right where he left off last week, and some very intense, high-pressure football by the Rhinos has caused the early goal. And I think we're in for a big one today.
4th minute, Rolfe gets it started. And this is a bad giveaway. Give McMahon credit too. The anticipation to step in front of the Takata pass. It's Forbes who will get the assist. His 4th assist of the season.
Good composure there by Rolfe to really just wait for the defender and just slot it right through.
1-0, Rhinos lead it. In the 4th minute, Rolfe with the goal. And there's a stoppage here on the near side as Musa having some equipment issues.
With the assist to number 21, Leonardo Forbes.
Now that being said, an early goal could set back or wake up St. Louis. They definitely, it's almost a bit of a panic mode. They've got to respond, got to get the result.
An early one there for Rolfe. And the Rhinos have a 1-0 lead. So if it's Dos Santos, he'll score. If it's Rolfe, he'll score. Throw Valesky in there as well. Unbelievable. So many different options and where the goals can come from.
And really just picking up right where they left off last week.
Jameel Hardware is down on the turf. So look at the goal from Rolfe. A real dangerous pass from Takata.
You see there, he checked his shoulder, but it didn't look right in front of him. I think it's, he'll be looking back at that one and be a bit upset.
A restart here for Gall. Swerving into the box, and Miller makes the save.
Got to do much better than that to beat Brandon Miller. He's going to eat those up all day.
Miller is 1 shutout away from tying Miguel Gallardo and former Rhino Christian Nisch, the single season mark of 11 shutouts. Rolfe is dumped by Gall. Immediate call from the official. These two teams played earlier in the season, April the 18th at St. Louis. 1-0 win for the Rhinos, and guess who scored in that one?
Colin Rolfe.
78th minute.
Huge goal.
Likes to play against
And
the newcomers.
I don't want to say it was a turnaround game because we were, I think, undefeated at that point as well, but it was a huge game for us just going in there. Very vibrant crowd there at St. Louis. To get that 1-0 win on the road, I think was huge for us and really gave us some momentum going forward.
That April 18th game came just 2 days after a 1-1 draw at Louisville City. Rolfe continues to have success against St. Louis FC.
And at the Rochester Rhinos administrative offices Monday through Friday.
Here's Can, 9th in the USL with a 1.35 goals against average. Out to the far side. Vandegrift tried to bring it down, couldn't. And the high bouncing ball will be called for offside.
I spoke earlier about responding to that early goal, and I mean, obviously it's been 3 or 4 minutes since, but I'm just not seeing it yet from St. Louis. You see Takata gets a hold of the ball, and there's no urgency to get open. No one really wants the ball.
Flag comes up again. Forbes in behind the defense. St. Louis has had a tough month of August. They're 1-3-1 this month. And actually, if you look at their record, playing better away from home, which is kind of a unique mark. 4-4-4 away from home, 2-6-4 on home turf.
It is a bit weird because they've developed quite the fortress over there. One of the better attendance records for the season. So
Hardware looking for space. Obasi and Mendoza double team and do the job. Rolfe to Dixon. Other side for Forbes. Leonardo Forbes, 3 goals, 4 assists on the season. Tosh, how about the ball he played into Dos Santos last week?
What a ball that was, straight off of FIFA.
As your roommate, I'm sure you heard a little bit about it this week, didn't you?
Oh, of course. I mean, I gave, you know, you got to give credit where credit is due, and that was a brilliant ball, so I was the first one just to...
How about coming from him, though?
Not
no
much.
Comments like, Sylvain, see that ball I played?
No, not really, no. Tosh is a humble guy. I think you've seen it.
Yeah, good guy.
Seen it then, you've seen it the whole year, really. I mean, he's really kept his head down, worked, and not gotten too high, not gotten too low, just really.
The goal we're talking about was last week against Harrisburg. He was on the near sideline. Just played it with the outside of his foot, swerved it in around the defense for Dos Santos to run onto. And it was one of the prettier goals of the season.
Yeah, I think he beat 3 defenders with 1 ball.
That's the way to do it. Duty sends it forward. And the collision there, Hardware and Ringhoff, will lead to a free kick for St. Louis. coming off a 2-0 loss at Richmond last week. They gave up 2 goals in just 7 minutes of the second half. Dale Shilley, the head coach, the native of St. Louis, looking to keep the playoff hopes alive. Speaking of coaches, there's USL Hall of Famer Bob Lilly. Off to a tremendous start here. A 14-1-8 season for the Rhinos. His second stint with the club. There's Gall. Duty. Mendoza tracking it down and out of play. It'll be goal kick coming up for the Rhinos.
There's just another example of what I was saying. Duty had Gall right there pinned on the sideline. There was nobody else, no one checking, no one giving a deeper angle for the ball. So I think St. Louis is still struggling, still trying to get their feet set on the game.
We saw that stifling defensive performance last week against Harrisburg. They just could not find anything. No gaps, no breaks at all.
What was it, the first 25? I mean, I don't think Harrisburg left their half.
It was unbelievable.
Brilliant performance there.
And here come the Rhinos again. Good ball, Mendoza in the box. Touches, shot, just wide of the post. Mendoza with a good opportunity in the 11th minute and sends it just wide of the post. But look at Forbes again on the delivery.
And that's a player you see when he drifts inside what he can do. So I think we spoke last week about him really dominating that playmaking role. Been tossed out right today, but to be fair, he's deadly whenever he's on the pitch. He'll find a way.
Good work there from Forbes and Mendoza. If you visited the new USLsoccer.com, get the latest news and live stats, and check out the new social media hub, USLsoccer.com. There's a throw in for McMahon, the 27-year-old. Takata gets it to Gall. McMahon steps in front, wins it again. He's been good early on. His interception led to the first goal of the afternoon.
Mr. Consistency, McMahon. Don't hear, I mean, not the flashiest player. Yeah, not flashy, but gets the job done and does it well.
There's Tosh to Ringhoff. Back to the German, Julian and Ringhoff. 20th game of the season for the 25-year-old. The University of San Diego as well. There's Walls, picked up a goal last week. Rhinos with possession, working it all over the field. Obasi. Still Obasi.
And he's back. Obasi is back. You're going to see some brilliant dribble quests, as we call them.
What do you call it?
Dribble quests. Just goes on a little journey right across or through the field. But he's an exciting player to watch and pull out some moves that'll still leave you scratching your head thinking, how'd he do that?
There he is with the ball now. A little touch forward. Mendoza back to Apostolopoulos. That's the start over Van de Castile as the central back today.
Once again, just seeing the Rhinos' versatility.
Good touch from Tosh. Forbes keeps it in play. Pushed down to the turf. No call made. Marr gets away with it. Hardware. Roberts. Takata. Switched over to the far side. Vandegrift takes a touch. Obasi settles out there. There's Gall. Takata. Through Takata to Duty.
Duty finding a little pothole in the turf.
There's Takata. He's ball into the box. Nobody on the end of it. It's easily scooped up by Brandon Miller. Number 1 in the USL is 0.55 goals against average. Only 9 goals against. The entire squad has given up 12. It's obviously the best mark in the USL. Coming up closest to that mark, looking at the standings right now with 26 goals against, the Charleston Battery, who have ended a 6-game winless streak last night. 0-4-2, knocking off Richmond 2-0 last night. Actually 25 goals against to the Charlotte Independence. So I stand corrected. Charlotte in action today up in Toronto. Possession here for St. Louis. Bryce spinning away from Obasi, and a good tackle from Ottawa. Wins it back for the Rhinos. Determined there, he was not going to let Bryce get that space. Toronto and Charlotte, the only other game in the USL today. First meeting of the season between those clubs. Charlotte on a tear. 4-0-4 in their last 8 games. Forbes applying some pressure on Fink. Goes back to Can.
Enjoy Salem's hot dogs and premium deli meats available in your local grocery store. Salem's hot dogs.
Takata.
Hot dogs of Salem
What a
Stadium.
switch there.
Hardware. Flag comes up as he is offside.
And the Rhinos taking the foot a little bit off the pedal. You're not seeing them closing down the spaces as much as they did in the first few minutes, so it's opened up the game.
We're in the 16th minute. A goal in the 4th minute from Rolf puts this one at 1-0 for the Rhinos. McMahon. Forbes. Knocked away forward to Mara. There's Hardware. Mara. Roberts. Gall with some space, middle of the field. Goes outside. Into the box. Hardware off the chest. At the 6. Stumbles, and Miller will pick it up inside his own 6. Very uncharacteristic to see a player win a ball in the air at the Rhino 6.
Yeah, the Rhinos are going to definitely have to be aware of that going forward. Those mistakes will just bring St. Louis right back into the game. And like I mentioned earlier, they don't seem to be panicked, but due to their situation, they are a team that is going to wake up, has to at some point, try and make that last run for the playoffs.
26 points right now for St. Louis. Just 1 point ahead of Montreal. 6 points behind Charlotte. So St. Louis looking to do something here in Rochester today and see if TFC can help them out up north. There's Ringhoff. There's Dixon. How about his performance last week?
And he has yet to impact the game yet today, but when you'll see it, you'll definitely see it.
A huge presence in that 4-0 win over Harrisburg. This one's deflected, picked up by Roberts. 2v5, wasn't going to work there. Apostolopoulos wins it away to Dixon. Everyone expecting the flag to come up for offsides, and never did.
Yeah, and I don't know if the heat's playing a factor or what, but it's slowed down.
Business communication tools, including internet, voice, television, network, and
There's Gall.
For more information, visit us at business.com.
Takata. Forward to Kingsley Bryce. Tripped up by Obasi. It'll be a free kick coming up for St. Louis FC. Congratulations to Tony Walls. Played his 50th USL regular season game last week against Harrisburg as the Rhinos clinched a playoff spot. Walls the team captain.
Signed an extension, so there's many more to come, isn't there?
Young player, he's 25 years old, plenty of years ahead of him. It's Gall over to take the restart. 2 in the wall for the Rhinos on the far side. Delivered into the box. McMahon gets the header on it. Rolf barreling in, able to keep possession to Mendoza. Outside for Dixon. He's got some space and some speed. Cuts it inside. Dixon. Forbes. Good patience here from Canardo Forbes. And he'll have a go and started taking a little bit of a swerve there. Can felt it was wide enough.
Definitely knew what he was doing there. I think he used McMahon's run his overlapping run is a bit of a decoy, see if the defense would open up, but don't think it opened up quite as much as he wanted it to.
Looks like the cleat came off of the left foot of Colin Rolfe, and he's relacing that one. And while we have a break, be sure to become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive league news and interactive content. It's the USL on Facebook. Also follow at USL on Twitter. Become a league insider, join club conversations, and have a chance at exclusive giveaways at USL on Twitter. Bossy gets the header on it. And for Rolfe, fake steps there first. Dangerous play called on the Rhinos. St. Louis will get a restart. It's Fink to take it, a 22-year-old out of Wake Forest. Plays it back to Musa, the New Zealand international. Camping out at center back, and that is a terrible giveaway by Fink. No pressure at all, and just a poor touch.
Unforced error, and it's things like that that'll take the momentum out of St. Louis's game, which they were, I wouldn't say they had, but they were starting to get into the Rhinos half a bit, so things like that really killed the mood a bit. And I think we talked earlier, sorry to bring it up, but I think we foreshadowed Colin's goal.
Yeah, that's right.
And lo and behold, it happened.
During our taping of the Open for today's broadcast, there was a graphic that said Colin Rolfe, third goal of the season. We kind of looked at it and said, well, not yet, but there's a chance though for St. Louis. And it's knocked away and deflected, a corner kick coming up for St. Louis. But he had 2 goals coming into the game. We said, well, not 3 just yet. But they must have known something that we don't know.
Those guys in there, prophets.
Pedro, the soccer magician. He got his 3rd in the 4th minute. There's the corner kick for Hardware. Through the mix, and again, another bouncing ball in the box. Miller. Foul called against St. Louis. It'll come out on a free kick for the Rhinos, but that's twice now. I don't think I've seen all season long balls served into the box for the Rhinos.
It's looking a bit shaky. I think maybe just the fact that they're letting them in their half. The Rhinos aren't as defensively awake today as they were last week, so I think you're starting to see the results of that.
The 22nd, 23rd minute now. Forbes knocked out of play by St. Louis. We'll hear from McMahon on the near side. Center circle, Tosh. Outside for Obasi, his 17th appearance of the season, 3 assists. For one of the big guys in the back. Obasi. Ring off back to Miller. Pastalopoulos. There's Tosh. Rolfe. Tosh, Obasi. Just keeping possession, looking to draw St. Louis out of that tight defensive shape.
See, they're keeping possession, but the Rhinos are really killing the game right now with how slow it is. There's no, almost a bit like St. Louis did in the first few minutes. There's no urgency to get open. There's just the simple pass, and that's it. I think they've got to pick up their pace of play if they really want to get control of the game again.
And you hear it so many times that the home team, it's their job to attack, to keep up the intensity. For St. Louis, they can sit back.
Exactly.
Especially if it was tied, but they're going to have to find a point when they do push up and look for an equalizer.
Absolutely. I think it all comes down to habits as well. I don't think it's a habit you want to pick up this late in the season where you go up early and then you kind of turn it down for a little bit.
So many good teams in this league, and especially come playoff time.
Absolutely. Anybody's a good team come playoff time.
Hardware. Roberts pass deflected by Walls. And back to Brandon Miller, the 25-year-old. They'll go to the far side for Mendoza. Well, you want some pace and energy, Mendoza usually could bring that. Tosh, good ball. Dixon is in. Spins around, Chips it into the box for Rolf. Headed away there by Duty. And St. Louis dodges a bullet.
Almost, and you're seeing the Rhinos attack, but you're not seeing the midfield as close as they were last week to really lock it in, and I think that's a perfect example of what's been missing from their game today.
A little warmer than we saw last week. Mendoza into the 18, whips one across, looking for any sort of deflection. 80 degrees here at kickoff today. The Rhinos with pressure and possession in the St. Louis half. Tosh out to Mendoza. Obasi to Mendoza. Rolf in the box again. Dixon shot right at can. 26th minute, Dixon and Rolf combine. A good save by the keeper.
And the Rhinos slowing the game down, but still finding ways to break down St. Louis. So I don't know what that says about which team there, but decide for yourself, I guess.
Headed up in the air by Ringhoff. On the far side, it's Mendoza. Ringhoff. This is Musa, lets it go up and over his head. Got a couple tweets we can share on the air. This one from Sal Monjovi asking, is there an update on Dos Santos? Any word on that, Christian?
Yeah, I want to say it's a bit of a groin hip flexor. It's nothing serious, just more out of precaution. Didn't train the entire week, so just kind of gave him a rest. We've got plenty of forwards who can do the job, so there's no point risking any more injuries at this late in the season.
Got a tweet you want to share with us to get on the air? Any questions about today's game? Feel free to send it to @JoeySoccer. And our producer Pedro will be sure to get those up to us here in the booth.
Colin Rolfe looking to be suffering some sort of setback. He's bent over, holding his...
It's hamstring.
Yeah.
This is not good. We just talked about Dos Santos is injured. Voleski also out with a knock, and now Rolfe down. And the trainer being called onto the field. This does not look good for the Rhinos. Hopefully nothing too serious.
It's forcing an early sub here for the Rhinos.
Looks like the first.
Not the first time, but it is another test of versatility for the Rhinos, so we'll see what changes take place. And it's looking like number 8, Voleski's coming in.
Voleski with 7 goals and 1 assist. Putting on the jersey, and this will be an early substitution for Bob Lilly's Rochester Rhinos on the 28th minute, as Rolfe appears to be down and out for the rest of the game. We'll see if he can shake it off and maybe continue just a bit longer. No, he's not coming off. George Kadiatzis, the assistant coach, is handing in the substitute sheet.
It'll definitely be interesting to see, because usually Steven Dos Santos, who is out this week, and Colin going out now, you're losing the 2 forwards that are of that hold-up play style, so we'll see how they are going to manage to keep the ball in their offensive end.
So Voleski's got some jets, likes to run onto those balls and create.
We've also got Dixon up there, who's got a V8, and then...
and then what do you want to call that one?
I couldn't tell you. He's just agile, quick. I mean, Dixon's got it all, so.
This substitution for your
A 29th minute, Voleski on for Rolfe. He's over to the far sideline. And Voleski's 22nd appearance of the season, the MVP at the 2015 MLS Combine in Bradenton, Florida. 22-year-old coming on for Rolfe. Hit a spell there where Takata, another bad giveaway. Taken by Voleski, running right at Musa. Early touch here for the substitute. Takes down Musa, and foul called on Voleski. Takata, the 32-year-old, with a tough giveaway there as well. His first giveaway led to a goal, and that one wasn't too far off as well.
Yeah, and St. Louis really shooting themselves in the foot there. They're not allowing themselves to really build any momentum. Anytime they do get in their offensive half, something like that happens, and all of a sudden they're trying to recover from that mistake for the next few minutes. And it is hot, so recovering from a mistake like that, then trying to keep possession is not an easy task.
Oleski lays it off for Forbes. Walls sends it forward into space. Referee will blow the whistle, and he'll give a yellow card. It was going in the direction of Jordan Roberts, but I thought it was Marr who was involved as well. We'll see what the official word is on that one. The 30th minute.
Tony Wall's a bit of a cheeky play there. Not only is he going to steal it from you and push you off the ball, but he'll throw in a nutmeg as well.
Jordan Roberts given the yellow card. 30th minute for St. Louis. There's Takata. It's the touch forward. Hardware. And just enough to call the foul. No advantage there as the official looking to see if there was one. The box, backside. Roberts couldn't get there before Miller makes the save.
And so far, the unforced errors by both teams proven to be the only real birth of chances here. I think you saw there Pat McMahon try to force one in there. Led to a big attack there by St. Louis. So neither team really showing patience yet to try and build up any plays.
Musa. The header off the thigh of Marr. There for McMahon. At midfield, we're in the 32nd minute. The Rhinos with an early goal from Rolf. I'm sure fans watching and in attendance wondered, with the floodgates open, but it's kind of slowed down since then.
It has, and I think both teams responded in the way that they shouldn't have. St. Louis continued the unforced errors.
This ball's up into Dixon.
And the Rhinos just took their foot off the pedal.
Forbes doesn't get all of it. Bryce knocked off the ball. McMahon looking for Dixon, just not the space he needed there. In the 32nd minute. Nike's a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike soccer information.
Tasting and live music will be here from 3 to 6. For more information, visit rhinosoccer.com or call the box office at 454-KICK.
It'll be a goal kick for Can, 25-year-old.
Have you visited the new USLsoccer.com?
And up and over midfield. Good win by Walls in the air, undercut by Bryce. But we'll play on. Vandegrift looking for Hardware. Now sent forward for Dixon. Play on, advantage for the Rhinos. Mendoza. Oleski slow to get up. Good ball by Obasi for Dixon. Settles it down, marked there by Fink. And blocked out of play by Fink. A throw in for the Rhinos. 34th minute. Shots 4 for Rochester, 0 for St. Louis. Obasi slowly works his way over.
Definitely think the Heat's got to be playing a factor. It's almost looks like they're dragging a bit too early for that. So
Obasi's ball into the box is deflected, and Forbes will let this come out of play. It should be a corner kick for the Rhinos. It is. It's their second of the game. And it comes on the near side.
Rhinos corner.
Bernardo Forbes to do the honors. He's got an assist already in the first half. Mendoza comes over to have a chat with Canardo. 34th minute. The delivery. The header, goal! Tony Wall! 35th minute, 2-0 Rochester.
Tony Wall's holding a number 1, but I think that's number 3 for the season for him.
And here's a look at it, his 4th actually.
And the captain doing what needs to be done by a captain. Rochester had fallen off a little bit, slowed down, and Tony Walls just said, hey, let's pick it back up, boys, leading by example. So great play by Tony Walls, capping off another solid week for him.
His 4th of the season. In the 35th minute, Kennardo Forbes gets the assist. And that is his 2nd of the game for Kennardo Forbes. Gets a goal last week against Harrisburg and picks up another one this afternoon against St. Louis. 2-0, 36th minute. Rhinos with the lead.
Couldn't have come at a better time, huh?
Absolutely not.
Now, once again, I'll ask the same question. How are they going to respond? They can see out the half, because this by no means settles the game. They could see out the half or not. I mean, we'll see what happens.
That's a good ball for Vandegrift. St. Louis coming forward. Vandegrift, good tackle there by Obasi once again.
Obasi, 3rd or 4th, just big tackle. It's not something you typically see him do, but he's definitely come in with a point to prove, and he's doing it. He's proven it.
You know, he can have that flair and that fancy style of play, but also if he needs to have that grit, he'll bring it.
Absolutely, and he's showing it today. And big plays, very big plays, plays that potentially could have ended in chances for the St. Louis team.
Mendoza. 37th minute, the Rhinos 2, St. Louis nothing. McMahon. Chance on the breakaway now. Hardware turns on the Jets.
And
went to Roberts, and what a great defensive play.
Huge play there by Julian Ringoff. Came in at the right time, good recognition, and that's not the first mistake by the Rhinos today. We're seeing it a little too often. I think it's something that definitely needs to be addressed. Nothing to really make a big deal about, but you can see what can happen if you are turning over the ball in the wrong places.
37th minute, a big play there from Ringhoff. Played back to Apostolopoulos.
And I think you're seeing, says a lot about the Rhinos team. There was a bit of a lull. You saw Tony Walls make a big play.
Dixon with a shot, and it's just wide.
Saw Tony Walls make a big play right there. Obasi with a few big plays defensively, and now Julian Ringoff. So pick your poison, see who's going to step up and change things for him.
If Dixon buries that one, the assist would have gone to Forbes. Would have been his 3rd assist of the day.
Call it a day.
In the first half. Here's a look at it. That was not too far off the mark.
And Dixon continuing to cause havoc for opposing teams. Like we mentioned last week, this isn't the same Dixon we saw all year so far.
Well, he is definitely energized, rejuvenated, whatever you want to say. He is the new Alex Dixon. On the far side for Fink. Takata. All the way back to Can. Another tweet to share. This one from John Salamone. A tweet at Joey Soccer. Wanting to know who else Walls has scored against this season. Scored against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds twice. Harrisburg last week. So Walls, all his goals came against teams from Pennsylvania until today. Picks up the 2nd one of this afternoon for the Rhinos. There's Hardware, Jamil Hardware, the 23-year-old coming over from the Harrisburg City Islanders. Denied just a couple minutes ago there by Ringhoff. And Obasi working down the middle of the field. Dixon. Obasi making her run forward. Look at that. Straight down the middle looking for the return pass.
Just going on a journey.
He wants one.
Not your typical left back run, but
no, not at all.
Ano Obasi is not your typical left back, so.
Far from it.
And
There's Obasi to Walls.
it's his first game back from injury, so I think he's still warming up. But I'm really hoping to see some classic Obasi plays today, and I think you'll definitely see him as a half.
We're getting a taste of it. That's a good ball played in behind to Forbes. Looks, fires right at the post. And marking that post tightly there is Can.
Once again, Rhinos letting St. Louis out of their half, something they didn't do last week against Harrisburg. So
Tosh just muscling Mar off the ball. There's Walls. Mendoza now on the near side. 40th minute, Rhinos 2, St. Louis nothing. Back to Miller. Again, St. Louis needs a win or a tie just to keep their playoff hopes alive. They would lose the tiebreaker against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds due to Pittsburgh's number of wins. Thanks to Andrew Battisti for dissecting all that information. The human computer. Here's McMahon. Over Mendoza, Takata goes down but gets a piece of it to Roberts. Here's Hardware. Gall. Back to Duty. There's Duty again. Indiana University alongside of Jacob Bouchou. Duty from Naperville, Illinois, along with Brian Gall and Brian Cisolka. These are products of Naperville. Into the box. Rossi gets up and over Bryce.
dangerous ball there.
There's Gall. Volesky gets a piece of it. Gall has to regroup and go back to Fink. 42nd minute. The Rhinos with a 2-0 lead. Obasi battles with Vandegrift. Vandegrift comes away with it. Obasi again, those long legs, able to poke it away.
Nothing, absolutely nothing's been given on that left side.
Hardware. Walls wins the ball, comes away with it clean. Volesky.
And no one up front for the Rhinos right now. There's no real outlet pass for them, so just easing their way up the field.
There's Dixon. Canardo Forbes. Gives it back to Tosh.
Rhinos not really using all that space available to their advantage yet. You see Pac McMahon is,
Yeah, he is wide open.
for me, he's a bit too tucked in right now. If he opens up, that causes Mar to have to make a decision, stay on Johnny or slide over to McMahon.
Here's Johnny. Looking for Dixon, knocked away there by Mar. And we'll be throwing for the Rhinos. Don't forget that all USL regular season and playoff games are available live, free, and in demand on YouTube. Connect with the USL YouTube channel today. The 43rd minute, McMahon gets it into Volesky. To Tosh. Settles, fires, and it's right at Can.
And see, with shots like that, I really don't mind. It forces St. Louis to step and not really tuck in too far back. And now, anytime the Rhinos are in that attacking half, they've got to be aware they can shoot from far or they can penetrate. So it does really plant a little seed in the St. Louis back line.
44th minute, Miller will go outside to Obasi. Beautiful sunny afternoon at Salem Stadium.
Today's trivia challenge brought to you by Pixos Print.
Here's Tosh. Tosh, I'm sorry. Forbes just did good there to keep that one in play. And Walls on the all-out sprint. Not able to keep that one in play. Goal kick coming up here for Can. And St. Louis FC. There's a flag coming up for offside. There's Takata to Mar. Central, broken up by Apostolopoulos to Mendoza. Played Dixon to Obasi. Obasi again forward for Dixon. Top of the 18. Off the head of Dixon. Voleski picks it up. Corner of the 18, back to Dixon. There's McMahon. 45th minute, we'll have 2 minutes of stoppage time in half number 1. Obasi. Mendoza. Sean Tosh to Pat McMahon. Ring off. There's a work it around here. Maybe one more push. A 2-0 lead. Late in the first half, Voleski has to go forward, but no go there. It's Can to come out and pick it up. Can out of Furman University.
The poor touch there just thwarts Rochester's attack now. We'll see if St. Louis has anything to finish off the half.
Out of play, quick throw into Roberts. Outside to Marr. St. Louis with some time to push one forward here. Served into the box. Miller reaching up. No problem there for the Rhinos keeper. It's it to Mendoza. Rochester 9-0-2. They've already clinched a playoff spot. 7 points, the magic number to win the regular season championship. St. Louis needs a win or a draw, but they're digging themselves a bit of a hole here. Already down 2. Gall. Duty. Swerving ball headed away by Ringhoff. Tony Walls, one of the goal scorers today, gets it to Mendoza. Now some space for Dixon, a heavy touch there. And Takata able to step in and slow down that Rhinos attack. Final seconds of the first half. St. Louis, maybe one more push. Vandegrift looks, delivers into the box. Punched away by Miller. Miller still off his line. Marr to Gall. Now Takata just outside the 18. Service denied by McMahon. Roberts. Nothing doing there for St. Louis.
And cleaned up there by Brandon Miller. Both teams just body language says they want it to get to halftime. They're just ready for a quick break and try and see what the game plan is for the second half.
Just over the 2 minutes, and that will give us the whistle to bring half number 1 to a close. The Rhinos with goals from Rolfe in the 4th minute and Walls in the 35th minute have a 2-0 lead in the second meeting of the season between Rochester and St. Louis FC. 2-0 after 45 minutes of play. This is the Rhinos Broadcast Network.
Great Taste has landed. Salen's great tasting hot dogs and deli meats now available across New York State.
When you build a new house with Faber Homes, you won't have to deal with the to-do list that comes with buying a used home.
They made it really easy. I mean, the whole process was so simple, and we were new to the process. It was our first time owning a home, definitely first time building a home, so they made it really easy, step-by-step process, so it's great.
Learn more about the benefits of building a new home at faberhomes.com and visit our models in Henrietta at Berkshire Park or at Regency Park in Greece. Faber Homes. Great homes, great price.
Come on, join the rest of the kids at Unity Health System's Total Sports Experience. Instructional program starting at age 2. Year-round fun. Join anytime. Call 458-4263 or check us out at totalsports-experience.com.
The strength that in offense that the Rhinos have produced, but the foul stands out to me, and seeing that Rhinos have 9 fouls, it's showing that regardless of what they are doing offensively, they are always going to put in a shift, and they're going to be a very tough team to break through. I think the fouls kind of plays into that favor.
All right, after 45 minutes of play, Rochester with a 2-0 lead over St. Louis. Players making their way back onto the field. We'll have second half kickoff after this short break right here on the Rhinos Broadcast Network. Welcome back to Salem Stadium. Joe Giuliano along with Christian Silva. The Rhinos with a 2-0 lead. Goals from Rolfe and Walls after the first 45 minutes of play, and a couple changes coming up here for the visitors. It's Gasecki and Bushu coming on. We'll see who's coming off for St. Louis to start the second half. Gasecki, a 24-year-old, making his 17th appearance of the season. Bushu returning from a 3-game suspension to make his 22nd appearance of the season. And again, we'll get you the updated information as far as the players who have come off. And don't forget, throughout the first half, we were talking about some of your tweets. You can tweet us at Joey Soccer, and we'll get your tweet on there. This one comes from Scott Hauser. Question for you, Mr. Silva. Any updates on your injury, and when do you expect to return?
I'm 4 weeks away from running, Scott. But apart from that, it's just been lifting, therapy sessions, and really trying to get back range of motion. So 4 weeks till I'm running again, about another 8 to 9 weeks after that till I'm fully cleared to play. So it takes me right into off season. I cleared to play date, so there's actually no rush for me. I just want to make sure I'm doing all the little things to prevent this from happening again.
Thanks to Scott Hauser for that question for Mr. Silva. And again, at Joey Soccer, you sent us something down the line. It's Vandegrift who came off for Gasecki in the 45th minute, and Bushu coming on for Takata, and he had a bit of a rough go in that first half.
Did well. Was one of the few that was actively looking for the ball. Maybe overdoing it because his teammates weren't looking for it. So I think in that he forced a few passes that really led to huge chances for the Rhinos, and one of them being the first goal.
He comes off for Bushu. Bushu, a standout at Indiana University, leading them to the 1-0 win over Georgetown in 2012 for that NCAA championship. It was the 8th NCAA championship for the Hoosiers. There's a foul call on the far side. Tosh will take it. Now to Obasi. Pastalopoulos to Walls. Loses the touch. It's Bryce for Oscar Gosecki. Musa. Intercepted by Forbes. Deals with the challenge of Marr and gets it to McMahon. Tosh.
And Gasecki stepping in the right back position, like I mentioned earlier. I think they're having a bit of trouble finding how to replace a Richard Dixon here.
We talked about the injuries. Barklage, Ambersley, the former Rhino. Lynch, Dixon out with injuries. Bushu is available after that 3-game suspension. Nicholas Bibbs is serving the 4th and final game of his suspension today. He was suspended after a confrontation that occurred towards the end of the Montreal game. So that's his final game to sit out this afternoon in Rochester. So that's 5 key pieces.
Now, that being said, St. Louis still does have a few weapons on the bench. They've got the likes of Charles Rankin and Aaron Horton, 2 players, offensive threats that can come in and potentially change this game.
Rankin, a couple of goals and an assist on the season. Where's number 11? We'll see if he gets the nod today. Saw you guys chatting before the game.
Yeah, brilliant player and great guy. He's definitely a player I take a bit of inspiration from. He was a player who suffered a string of injuries, mainly knee injuries, and definitely like to hear from him how he bounced back, what he did, because he's a tremendous player, very dynamic, and you try and pick his brain, see what I can do.
Well, if I can offer anything, the work I saw you doing with a tennis ball was pretty impressive, my friend.
Yeah, it's the only thing. I'm not cleared to strike a ball yet, so figure why not make it hard. I like to work with a tennis ball, work on that coordination, and really try and get my balance back, so once I am cleared to play, I'm ahead of the game.
That's a clever idea. Where did you come up with the concept of training with a tennis ball?
I think you see it all around in football. I mean, it's obviously a lot harder to juggle than a bigger ball, so once you do go back, it feels like you're playing with a beach ball. And I think it allows you to find your sweet spot a lot quicker.
I'm going to steal that idea with my kids. I'll throw a tennis ball out there, and they'll look at me like I have 2 heads. Here at Salem Stadium, we're in the 49th minute. The Rhinos with a 2-0 lead over St. Louis FC. It's the second meeting of the season between the two clubs. Rhinos are in the playoffs, looking to secure the regular season title. St. Louis needs a win or at least a draw to keep those playoff hopes alive. This one out of play. One other game today in the USL, Toronto hosting Charlotte. They kicked off at 3 p.m. We'll see if we can get you an update on that one. Looking at last night's games, the crowds have just been amazing. 8,400 in Louisville last night, 11,000 at Sacramento. Just tremendous turnout as the home stretch in full effect.
Absolutely. I think we saw, what was it, midweek game, Monarchs drew close to 14,000, so I think it just says a lot about the league.
Outstanding.
League that's continuing to expand.
Looking for Voleski in the box. Finds Dixon. Voleski. Shot. Tried to swerve it around Can. And keeper there to make the save.
A clear chance for the Rhinos. Would have loved to see that go in.
High punt from Can, former keeper for the Battery and the Charlotte Eagles. Gasecki. Way over to the far side, Miller there first. There's Tosh in the 50th minute. Apostolopoulos. There's Obasi. Cuts it around, Bryce. Finds some space, and Tosh.
Obasi having a bit of mercy on the St. Louis team, not terrorizing down that left flank like he normally does. And I think he's best when a Johnny Mendoza, whoever is on that left flank, really clears space for him because he does have the ability to beat 1, 2, 3, even 4 defenders sometimes. So it's nice to see.
Bouchou plays it forward, finds Marr. 2-0 lead for the Rhinos. Roberts into the box, a heavy cross knocked away by Forbes, and a corner kick coming up here for St. Louis. USLsoccer.com. Have you visited the new USLsoccer.com? Get the latest news and live stats, and check out the new social media hub at USLsoccer.com. Into the box, bouncing, and again, uncharacteristic by the Rhinos defense. These loose balls in the box are normally swallowed up or just bombed away. That's the third time that St. Louis has been able to even get a sniff inside the 6.
Yeah, it's something the Rhinos have not been punished for yet today, but they are definite red flags and something that I truly hope they do address, because going into playoffs, like I said, it's all about habits, and this is a very nasty habit to pick up this late in the season.
There's Miller's goal kick up and over midfield. Back to Can.
Tickets for the Rhinos' first home playoff game will
Outside
go on
now.
sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. You can purchase playoff tickets by calling
Duty.
454
Back to Musa.
454-5425.
2-0. They always say very dangerous lead in soccer.
Playoff and group ticket packages are
That's exactly where we are right now in the 52nd minute. It's a good long ball. From
Brilliant ball, and like I mentioned earlier, tremendous left peg.
Marr through the legs of McMahon. Duty crosses. Header there by Bryce.
Dangerous.
Off the mark, and
Dangerous.
they are finding those opportunities.
Dangerous play all around there by St. Louis, and it's plays like that, single plays, that will change the game.
Goal kick coming up here for Miller in the 53rd minute. Rochester will be in action next Saturday, September the 5th. They'll be taking on the Richmond Kickers. Richmond 6-2-4 at home, 9-7-9 overall. It will be on Saturday at City Stadium.
You're seeing ever since Rolf left the game, and obviously the absence of Dos Santos, it hasn't been the same type of hold-up play. Really nothing up front to slow down the ball, and it's as soon as they get it up just as quickly, it's won back by St. Louis and comes right back down.
A chance now for the Rhinos to counter Dixon, Tosh. First 8 or 9 minutes have been St. Louis here in the second half. I was looking to get a grasp on this one. They've got the lead, and they're surely look for more.
And you're seeing again, Rhinos kind of drifting back into that lull of the first half. No one really checking for the ball, no urgency to get the ball. So we'll see, maybe they're shutting it down for a bit, trying to pace themselves, but this game's far from over.
Absolutely, 54th minute. A lot of soccer still to be played. Dixon. Stopped there by Gasecki. Corner kick coming up for the Rhinos. This is their third one of the match. Mendoza and Forbes will set it up once again.
And we'll see the Rhinos getting the big boys in the box, so they'll definitely be trying to capitalize once again on this corner kick.
There's Mendoza for Forbes. There's the delivery, low. Picked Picked up by Bryce, knocked to midfield.
Not the best delivery there. Rhinos looking to be suffering a bit from the heat. It's definitely a play you want to capitalize on, or at least get some sort of reaction from the keeper.
Headed down, Obasi. Looking to go forward, now back to Apostolopoulos. McMahon to Ringhoff. Back to Apostolopoulos. Rhinos with a 2-0 lead in the 56th minute. There's Voleski, chips it up to himself. Finds Mendoza. Back to Obasi. Now Apostolopoulos. Possession here for the Rhinos.
I think really trying to figure out how exactly they want to go about attacking.
Obasi, a dangerous ball back. Hardware giving Miller no choice there but just to knock it out of play. It's not what Bob Lilly's looking for right now from his team as the playoffs approaching.
I don't think any coach is looking for passes like that. I think it's something they've got to address now. There's definitely over 30 minutes to play, so it's not the route you want to go.
11 minutes into the second half. Looking for Hardware. Apostolopoulos gets there first and lets it roll out of play. Goal kick coming up here for the Rhinos. Become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive league news and interactive content. It's the USL on Facebook. You can also follow at USL on Twitter. Become a league insider, join club conversations, have a chance at exclusive giveaways at USL on Twitter. And as we mentioned, reading some of your tweets here today. Just send a message to @JoeySoccer and we'll get you and your comment on the air.
Not the start that I imagine Coach Lilly wanted for the Rhinos, but they're still trying to find their feet, trying to get settled into this half.
Good tackle there from Bryce. Knocks it out of play. Throwing coming up here for the Rhinos. Rochester sitting on 50 points at a 14-1-8 mark. Bossi with a throw-in. St. Louis is 6-10-8. Leski's little flick. It's on the foot of Fink. Plays it back to Can. Their side now.
I think we see it again. I think the Rhinos really missing those hold-up forwards to slow things down up front. I don't think they're giving the midfield enough chance to recover and find space.
Gasecki gives it right back to the Rhinos. Voleski to Mendoza. Now Tosh. Walls. Rhinos still have 4 substitutions available. St. Louis with 3. A 28th minute substitution saw Rolfe come off and Voleski came on. Onto the near side for Mendoza. Cuts it into the 18, Mendoza still with it. The shot! Wide and off the mark.
Unfortunate, brilliant play there by Johnny Mendoza. Baited him. Got his hips to turn the wrong way, cut inside, and I think his momentum was a bit too quickly for his own good.
Can will have the goal kick here for St. Louis. Here's a look at that good bit of work from Johnny Mendoza. Into the 18 and just couldn't get his body around it to put it on frame. Walls called for the foul against Hardware. Quick restart. Mara comes away with it. Little tug from Dixon, play on. Gall. Gasecki. Bushu. Still dribbling forward, Hardware. Gets it back from Bryce into the 18. Hardware's tripped up. Bryce lunges at Obasi and big man comes away with it.
Johnny Evans impression. Trying to get it with his head.
Oh, he threw everything at him. Forward now is Canardo Forbes. Rhinos still have Ruggles, Ugarte, Garzi, Mulgrew, and Samuels available as substitutes. Long ball on the far side. Looking for Forbes, won't get there, can. Play it to Duty.
Great play, Duty did very well to recover there. Would have liked to see that ball a bit more direct and not with too much height on it. I think that will make or break a pass like that.
St. Louis has Peter Kelly, Brian Zisulka, Charles Rankin, and Aaron Horton available for subs, along with backup keeper Alex Riggs. Looking for Dixon, and it's Can who gets there first. Another tweet from some of our listeners and viewers comes from @J Bauer, and he mentions you guys talk about a new role for Alex Dixon. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Alex Dixon, for the part of the year that he was playing, the early parts, he was out on the wing, forced to do a lot of tracking back, using his speed on both sides of the ball. But now you're seeing him in a more central role with a bit more freedom to roam and really kind of run at the defense, run in behind the defense. So I think it plays more into his strengths. I think Coach Lilly thinks that as well, obviously, that he is playing there, and it's I think it's showing. His role now kind of doesn't take away from his defensive duties whatsoever, but it's now something that he can take advantage of rather than be stuck on the wing with so much ground to cover.
Thanks for that great question. 62nd minute. Forbes on the far side. Still working at Forbes. He's got 2 assists on the afternoon. Taken off the ball. Marr outside to Hardware. Back to Marr. Hardware, nowhere to go, has to go backwards with it. Moody. Bushu. Crossing midfield. Marr checks back for it. Over the near side for Fink. Gasecki. Hardware picks it up. Got Marr on the far side with some space. McMahon comes over to close the space. Marr, low shot, diving to his right. Miller makes the save.
Not a massive threat there, but another uncharacteristic Rochester play, just allowing a player to cut in and shoot. I think chalk it up to fatigueness. I don't know what you can chalk it up to, but it's something that I'll say again needs to be addressed.
Rhinos opening the door here in the first 15 minutes of the second half. St. Louis some time and some confidence here as we move in to the 63rd minute. Back to Miller. And looking to hang on and get level with Christian Nisht and Miguel Gallardo for 11 shutouts, a record for goalkeepers in this league. Sent forward to Dixon. Flag comes up. He's offside. Changes coming for both sides momentarily. Pastelopoulos to Mendoza. St. Louis looking to improve upon that month of August skid. 1-3-1 this month.
I think we just saw there, we mentioned Rhinos missing DeSantos today, and I think it shows right there. You see both forwards right there running into the same space and not really complementing each other as they did last week.
They've not been on the same page since Voleski has come on for Rolf in the 28th minute. Third change of the match coming up for St. Louis in the 65th minute. Charles Rankin coming on. And he's replacing Jordan Roberts. Rankin, 24th appearance of the season. Native of Zambia.
Charles Rankin, replacing number 20.
Roberts, 22-year-old of Quincy University, comes off after making his 3rd appearance of the season.
And Rankin, a young player, but a player with tremendous experience. tremendous experience, has been through a lot, has come up, played in Germany, came up through Hoffenheim system, had a few MLS matches under his belt as well, and he's a player who's had a lot. He's been in the national team setup as well, and he's a fantastic player, dynamic, very skillful.
Gets his first touch, battles with Walls, and tripped up Dixon by Gall. And this will give us a stoppage to bring on no one yet. Quick restart to Mendoza, into the 18, Mendoza. Cross deflected and just punched away at the near post by Can. Dixon with it now. Tosh to McMahon. Now Walls showing, finding space. Obasi. Late foul there. Coming up the back of the leg was Rankin on Obasi. He's going to need a moment to shake this one off. And we will have the substitution. Marcos Ugarte will be coming on for Kennardo Forbes. This change in the 66th minute.
Rankin trying to make his presence felt, but not something you want to see. Obasi's just come back from an ankle injury, so hopefully he's okay.
There's that look at that last opportunity. Can had to be aware quickly as it deflected in towards the near post.
Great reaction there by the keeper. Not an easy save whatsoever. I think he had to change his entire footing and try and change direction on that play.
So Ugarte comes on for Forbes in the 66th minute. Kennardo Forbes assisting on both Rhino goals in the first half to bring up his assist total to 5 on the season. Ugarte, 16th appearance in the 2015 campaign. Dixon for Tosh, now to Walls. Now McMahon. To Mendoza. Off driven. Miseki.
Unforced error once again.
Obasi comes to take it away though. Right down the middle, Obasi. Still Obasi, right-footed shot. It's right at Can. He'll pick up the loose ball, but the flag will come up anyways, as Valesky was offside.
Brilliant play by Obasi, and I think you're seeing he's starting to put his foot down and let St. Louis know he's here to play. I'll be honest, seeing him cut across the goal box like that.
And I think you said something very, very important in that first half, that for a left back to make those runs down the middle of the field, uncharacteristic, as Bryce has a shot block.
But like I said, Obasi's not your typical left back. Yeah. He's a player that gives so much more offensively. Probably the top one-on-one player I've played with. And just seeing him cut across the box like that really reminded me of his highlights in indoor. Something you see very often in his indoor game. And I thought he was going to capitalize with the goal, but unfortunately it wasn't possible.
Great effort there from Obasi. Just had to put it one way or the other. This one out of play on the near side. 69th minute. Rhinos 2-0. Rolf Walls with the goals. Spinning away is Fink. Bushu. St. Louis back in their own half with Musa. Sunday afternoon at Salem Stadium, the Rhinos lead it 2-0 over St. Louis. Coming into the league after AC St. Louis was led by the same head coach. In 2010, Dale Schilly, the native of St. Louis. Also took charge of that club.
And it's something interesting to see, because essentially this team was handpicked by the coach. So we're seeing that they're not really finding themselves, struggling to get it going. You don't see any cohesiveness within the group. center mid has the ball and both forwards run away or both forwards check two. So it's interesting to see. I really do hope for them because St. Louis has a brilliant market for the game. Tremendous support, so I think they deserve
an incredible soccer history. If you look at every U.S. World Cup team has included at least one player from St. Louis over the years. So an incredible soccer city. Going all the way back to the St. Louis Stars back in the 60s. Some of the big names, Al Trost, Ty Keogh, a couple of Cosmo players as well, David Bursage and Steve Moyers. Even Rochester Lancer players. Jim Pollahan and Don Draghi. As McMahon blocks the service from Patrick Duty. Indoor soccer also becoming pretty popular once again in St. Louis with the ambush of the MASL. There's Tosh battling for it. Marr comes away with it. Rankin. Gasecki to Gall. It's tangled up. Ugarte comes away with it. Now forward for Valesky. Good shoulder challenge there. Fink will play it all the way back to Can.
Fink having no problems starting that attack. Rochester still, like I said, we mentioned before, just not finding any hold-up play, not being able to come out of their own half.
No flow here for this Rhinos in the second half. Rankin. Ugarte battles with him. Obasi picks up the mess. 71st minute. It's McMahon now. Gets away from one. Approaches midfield for Mendoza. There's Tosh. Brings it back to Ringhoff. Now Apostolopoulos. Abassi back to Apostolopoulos. Rhinos looking to stay perfect at home. Get into double digits for wins on home turf at 10. Marr to Musa. Back to Marr. Marr, the 22-year-old out of Missouri State University. And his 25th appearance of the season. There's Bouchou. Just loses the ball, and the Rhinos come away with it easily. Dixon.
Rhinos have just no width. Everyone's checking in. They've got nothing to pass to, essentially.
There has been no rhythm for either side in this second half. And this will give us a chance to make some substitutions. Timmy Mulgrew will be coming on for the Rhinos, replacing Alex Dixon in the 73rd minute. And that'll bring a spark to the Rhinos lineup. And for St. Louis, Brian Susolka will be coming on and replacing Hardware. Also in the 73rd minute. Fourth change for St. Louis, third for Rochester. Jamil Hardware comes off. Susolka, the 23-year-old, joining St. Louis after playing one season with a team in Sweden. Fourth round pick by the Chicago Fire in the 2014 MLS draft.
Replacing number 7, Jamil Hardware.
Tosh loses possession, middle of the field. Susolka. Rankin. Susolka outside. Marr. And Bryce just couldn't get the body turned around. And no trouble there for the Rhinos keeper.
He gets his hip around that, and all of a sudden it's 2-1.
You got a game just like that.
Once again, we said it before, we'll say it again, unforced, really casual errors causing another big attack.
Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for the latest Nike Soccer information. There's Walls. Rankin strips him of the ball. Shot from distance. He saw Miller was off his line, and I guess why not have a go?
Ambitious recognition of keeper being out of his box and went for it. Why not?
75th minute. The Rhinos with goals in the 4th and the 35th. That is the scoring for the day. Apostolopoulos. Back to Miller. The head of Gosecki. Obasi will clear it, but out of bounds on the near side. Gosecki's throwing. There's Brushu to Musa. Musa, one of those players sitting on 4 yellow cards. One caution away from serving a suspension for yellow card accumulation for Rochester. McMahon and Voleski on that bubble. There's McMahon to Mulgrew, back to McMahon. Just no rhythm.
No, nothing at all.
There's no flow.
I think the Rhinos are trying to make up for it by initiating a few more runs, but it's very, I don't know, it's very elementary runs.
Yeah.
They've got there's no thought process behind the runs. They think they're moving, but they're actually clogging even more passing lanes. The 2 wingers right now for Rochester coming inside a bit naively and don't really understand that they're making the field a lot easier to defend for St. Louis.
This is going to be an interesting one to break down on video for Bob Lilly. To sit down this week in preparation for the Richmond game next week. To kind of look at some of these situations here today.
I think if it's going to happen, it's got to happen now. So in a way, you can see it as a blessing in disguise. We see a few things that maybe Coach Lilly hasn't, of course it's something he's addressed, but maybe hasn't really stuck in the Rhinos' mind. And it's something they could definitely go back to and try fixing in preparation for playoffs.
This is a St. Louis team that is fighting for their playoff lives. The Rhinos have handled them, but given up a few too many chances, I'm sure, for the fans and especially Bob Lilly's liking. As Gall will go outside. Marr gets it back to Musa. Sonny Samuels will be checking in for the Rhinos momentarily. There's Musa outside. Gonna go nowhere with that one. Poor touch. And Miller will easily scoop it up and continues to add to the lack of flow here in the second half. 78th minute. And we are still 2-0 Rochester.
Bit spoiled last week. I feel like just 'cause there's no, like I said, I don't see thought process behind anything they're doing right now. Whether it be the movement, the runs, the possession. So I think they're just hoping to see the game out. And
an offensive explosion last week. 4-0 over Charleston. Bad giveaway. Taken by Tosh now. Mendoza to Tosh. For Ugarte. Can't keep it in play. No, he does. We'll play out. Ugarte, and he dribbles it over the end line. Did a good job to keep it from going out of the field of play for a throw-in, but then ends up on a goal kick here for St. Louis. Change coming up now for Rochester. 4th one of the game. Sonny Samuels coming on for Johnny Mendoza. 79th minute. Samuels comes on for Mendoza. Sonny Samuels scoring last week in the 4-0 win against Harrisburg. It is the 4th change for Bob Lilly's side. Mendoza gets a round of applause as usual from the crowd. He returns the favor as well. Johnny Mendoza off in the 79th minute for Sonny Samuels.
we're hoping the Jamaican can come in and maybe instill a bit of Canarda Forbes back into the game in a way. Fellow countryman typically is the focal point of the attack. He's the guy who has the answers, who has the keys to unlock the other team's defense. So essentially all the rest of the Rhinos just run off that, you know?
Stand out at Canisius College. Tosh to Walls. Samuels keeps it in play. Marked there by Duty. Back to McMahon. All the way back now to Tosh. Far side Walls trying to keep it in play. Wins a throw in. No. And he can't believe it. There'll be a throw in coming up for St. Louis, and they'll make their 5th and final substitution, as it'll be Bryce coming off and Horton coming on. And this is the 81st minute, seeing St. Louis making their 5th and final substitution. So Horton coming on, the 23-year-old with 1 goal in 2 games played. Played in the USL before on loan with the Dayton Dutch Lions and the Orange County Blues. He was loaned via the Columbus Crew. Third appearance of the season for Horton. Wasecki. Played in the middle now. Bushu. Musa. See Solka with some space, little pocket there to turn. Finds Gall. Still Gall coming forward. Rankin with a touch. Couldn't get the delivery away, still keeps it in play though. And serves it, but blocked away by Apostolopoulos. Corner kick coming up for St. Louis. And 5th change coming up here for the Rhinos in the 82nd minute. Ruggles will come on to make his 5th appearance of the season. They'll wait till after the corner kick to bring Ruggles on. It's Rankin to take it. Drives it into the box. Headed away by Apostolopoulos. Pushed back in. Ugarte takes no chances, clears it downfield. There's Can for Duty. And for Horton, you want to play it there, and it'll roll out of play, and this should give Ruggles a chance to make his 5th appearance of the season in place of Anua Obasi. 5th and final one coming up here for the Rhinos.
Quiet game for Anua Obasi by his standards, but he is coming back from injury, so you take it for what it is. It's a game that's getting him 1 step closer to being the same Obasi we've seen all year. The same Obasi that's been terrorizing that flank, so.
He hooks up, gives Ruggles a handshake, and Ruggles comes onto the field, the 23-year-old. Played last season with the Wilmington Hammerheads. There's Wasecki. Time running out here on St. Louis. If they want to at least get a draw and keep their playoff hopes alive. For the Rhinos, 1 step closer to that regular season championship.
And another uncharacteristic trait of the Rhinos today, I wouldn't say, and the changes have brought down the level, but they haven't provided that spark that they typically do. So, hey, I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So, like I said, if they go about it the right way and really address these issues from today, could be one of the bigger blessings they've had all year. Because, like I said, everything now is in preparation for playoffs.
And it's, you know, it's funny you look back at this and maybe some people think, well, they're winning 2-0, but I guess you nailed it on the head. You've probably been a little spoiled.
Oh, absolutely, and I think it's been a 2-0 win, but it hasn't been a clear-cut win per se. You know, like I said, the first goal was basically handed to us by St. Louis. Second goal, it was a great individual effort by Tony Walls, but it did come off a corner kick, so something that can or cannot go for you. You know, you can't depend on those. So
I think we've been spoiled. 14-1-8, and there's been some dynamite performances. The team looks like they're gonna get the win, but we're still talking about things that might need to be improved. So
absolutely, and Bob Lilly.
That's really a credit to Bob Lilly and the club.
Absolutely, and Bob Lilly, I know for a fact it's something that has not gone unnoticed. So it'll be something that'll be addressed and taken care of, plain and simple.
It is 2-0. The Rhinos lead it in the 85th minute. Both goals coming in the first half of play. Today's game produced by John Catalano and company. If you're enjoying our coverage, I'm Joe Giuliano along with Christian Silva, who's out with the injury and recovering. Hopefully be back soon, sooner rather than later.
Oh, it's right around the corner.
Be out there before you know it, looking up here saying, did I sit up there and talk about the game?
I have enjoyed this, though, I will say.
You've done great. You've been a smooth transition. Rankin picks up the throw-in. Sisolka back to Gasecki. John Catalano, our producer, with words of encouragement.
Always.
If that's what you want to call those.
Expect nothing less.
There's Gasecki.
Rediscover your love of Genesee and enjoy a fun, family-friendly environment.
Bouchou, Gall.
Make sure you join us after tonight's
This is
match.
intercepted by McMahon. He's done that countless times today. Chance for Rochester to come forward. Samuels. Ugarte. Now to Walls. They'll work it back and just keep possession. Apostolopoulos. Ugarte. Rhinos go to Richmond next week. Toronto at home, road trip to Pittsburgh, and then wrap up the 19th of September against a team that's really kind of surprised me, New York Red Bulls 2, with 39 points, 11, 8, and 6 on the season. And they just kind of plod along, going along, getting those points, and before you know it, they're going to be in the playoffs.
And I mean, I think really hidden in all that, I think it's something you do want to see. I mean, you also got to remember they are not here for USL glory, per se. You know, they are here to develop. I think you've seen a decent amount of their players make first-team debuts and contribute to that first team. So I think in a way they are doing what they meant to do. And I think the cherry on top is, you know, the added benefit of having a reserve team that is starting to get the results and starting to gel at the right time.
Absolutely. Picking up a 2-0 win last night at home against Wilmington. Their second straight shutout. And speaking of last night's games, well, I guess that 4-0 loss here in Rochester to the Rhinos really sparked things for Harrisburg. 6-0 over FC Montreal.
It's tough to see because Montreal was one of those teams in similar Red Bull fashion.
Oh, a chance there for Sisolka. And it's tipped up and over the bar by Miller.
In Red Bull fashion, they were starting to make a late surge. They had gotten, I want to say, promising results out of the last 6 or 7 games. So
here's a look at that last chance from Sisolka, the 23-year-old. Falling down and just tipped up and over nicely by Miller, trying to preserve that shutout.
And the Rhinos fit midfield not reacting quickly enough, not closing down those spaces and making sure those second balls are won. I think
ahead of Horton, goal kick.
I think the second half has been a very reactive half for the Rhinos. Any chances they've gotten, they've kind of stumbled upon them. They haven't been as proactive as you typically see this Rhino side. But, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's just like, you know what, get it out of your system. Get it out of your system now. Get back to work. Correct things for the next one.
And that'll come on Saturday at Richmond against the Kickers. Gasecki on the far side looking for Horton. Whistle blows. Free kick coming up here for St. Louis FC. Rhinos and Richmond played here on August the 9th, a 1-1 draw for the Kickers' visit. Restart coming up here for Gall and St. Louis. 90th minute.
As a reminder, the clock will
There's the delivery into the box. Bodies flying and falling, and no harm there as it comes out in a goal kick for the Rochester Rhinos.
I'm not sure if the camera caught it there, but you saw Brandon Miller having some strong words for his defense. I think he's it's something you like to see. It's definitely something you like to see. He knows how hard he's worked for this opportunity to be, I mean, I don't want to, obviously I'm a bit biased, but the best keeper in the USL so far. So
he definitely has been.
He's definitely got perspective. He knows what he's going after, and he knows what it's going to take to see this game and season out. So it's definitely something you want to see. It's not just the captain's armband being the leader. Brandon Miller's doing his job as well.
He is one shutout away, just minutes away from tying the record in the USL for 11 shutouts. Gallardo and Nisht hold that mark. Stoppage here is the referee is going to have a word with Tony Walls, and we will have 3 minutes of stoppage time. Sulka will play it back to Miller. Shots 11 for the Rhinos, 4 for St. Louis. Fouls 14 for Rochester, 10 for St. Louis. Those are some of your numbers from this afternoon. Horton outside for Sisolka. Into the box for Rankin. Service no one there and cleared away by Ruggles. Bushu.
Not sure if the Rhinos have gone to 5 in the back or they're just struggling to push up, but it's not looking right.
Here's Mars cross for Horton. The toe poke, loose ball. And over the end line, another good service into the box. Walls has to track back. And it's been a tough one for Rochester to get that rhythm, that momentum going. Walls tracking back, making the play.
Very fortunate. The score is going their way, so very fortunate. But like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, we know Coach Lilly's going to address this. I mean, even if it was 5-0, I think it's not their best performance, and it's just not going their way today. And not because of any bad luck or anything. They're just, you know, choosing to not make those runs, to not really be as switched on mentally, and you're seeing the result of that.
Secchi's header on the near side. Ruggles will let it roll out of play. Drew Ruggles, 23 years old, also plays indoors for the Baltimore Blast. Big, strong player. Gets into the box for Mulgrew in front. Samuels couldn't lay it off for Valesky. Tosh to Valesky. Left-footed shot off the mark. And goal kick coming up here for Alec Can. There's a look at that last bit of activity from Valesky. Long ball up and over everybody. Rankin and Walls kind of going at each other. Walls looking up saying, "Are you kidding me?" And the foul called. Horton, a little contact there on Brandon Miller. A little chippy here at the end.
Yeah, I think those frustrations are settling in. I think this result means St. Louis is essentially knows exactly how many games they have left in the season.
And that'll bring this game to a close. 90-plus minutes, the Rhinos with 2 goals in the first half. Able to kind of sit on this one and ride it out for the 2-0 victory. Moving them up to now 15, 1-8 on the season. St. Louis 6, 11-8. 2-0 the final score from Salem Stadium. We'll be right back on the Rhinos Broadcast Network.
We're in a post game? That was terrible. Oh, terrible sound.